They say some stories should never be told because once you hear them, they follow you. In the darkness, when the world is quiet, that's when they come back. Memories, shadows, voices without bodies. These are not bedtime stories. These are the whispers of the dead, the screams trapped inside walls, the fear that breathes behind you. Every story you hear tonight was born from pain, from madness, from something that refused to die. Once you start listening, there is no turning back. Turn off the lights, put on your headphones, and welcome to the darkness. Don't forget to like our videos. Also, subscribe our channel.
Hey dude, you ever drive a road where it feels like the woods are leaning in? Like the trees aren't just trees. Like they're eavesdropping? Because I need you to hear this whole thing before I talk myself out of it. I didn't see a ghost. I'm not even saying it was supernatural. I'm saying the Appalachian Mountains, those old folded hills. They've got places that don't want you there. And I think I accidentally camped in one of them. So okay, back up. You know how I get when work's been chewing on me too long. I start doing that thing where I'm like, I'm gonna go find trees and pretend emails don't exist. So I texted my buddy Mason. Yeah, that Mason, the one who thinks every warning sign is just a suggestion. And I'm like, let's do a weekend in the mountains. Real Appalachia, not a tourist spot. Just quiet. Mason sends back, bet, I know a spot. That should have been my first red flag, because Mason never knows a spot. He knows a bad idea wearing a spot costume. He tells me there's this place locals call Blue Hollow. Not on Google Maps as Blue Hollow, obviously. More like a dip in the land where the fog sits like it's paid rent. He says there's an old road, a creek, and some abandoned stuff from back in the day. And I'm like, cool. Spooky vibes. We'll cook hot dogs and pretend we're in a documentary. I even joked, if we get haunted, I'm leaving you. Mason goes, you can't leave. The woods won't let you. He laughed after, like it was just a joke. But there was this half second before the laugh where his voice got flat that we drove in Friday after lunch. The deeper we got, the more the world just simplified. Fewer billboards, fewer gas stations, less cell signal, more green-black ridge lines piled on top of each other like sleeping animals. And there's this weird thing Appalachia does, where the mountain looks gentle from far away, like a big soft shoulder, but once you're inside it, it's all steep cuts and sudden drop-offs and roads that feel like they were designed by a drunk snake. We hit the last town, barely a town, a Dollar General, a diner, a gas station with one pump actually working. We stop for supplies. While Mason's inside, I'm filling the tank. And this older guy, like late 60s maybe, comes out of the diner, sees our gear, sees the out-of-state plates. He just says, y'all heading up? I'm like, yeah, just camping. Couple nights. He looks past me, at the mountains, like they're gonna answer for him. Then he says, don't camp in no holler you ain't been invited to. I laughed because I didn't understand what he meant. He didn't laugh. He points his chin at our truck. Where y'all going? Mason comes back with ice and beef jerky, and that stupid grin. He goes, Blue Hollow. The guy's face changed. Not fear exactly. More like annoyance? Like Mason had just said something rude. He says, ain't nothing in Blue Hollow for you. Mason goes, we're just fishing. The older guy steps closer, quiet as fog. He says, you ever hear of something called a blank? And I'm like, eh what? He shakes his head, like he's mad at himself for even starting. Then he says, if you hear somebody calling you by name, he taps the side of his own neck, right under the ear. And it ain't a voice, you keep walking. Don't answer. Don't correct it. Don't help it. Mason goes, yes, sir. The guy stares at Mason for too long. Then he looks at me like I'm the only one in the room with a pulse. And he says, watch your friend. Folks go missing with friends like that. And then he goes back into the diner like that whole conversation never happened. Mason says, see, local flavor, adds to the vibe. I should have turned around right then. But you know how it is. You tell yourself people are just superstitious. You tell yourself it's a story. And you don't realize you're stepping into the story until it's already shut behind you. blue hollow isn't marked. Mason just turned onto this gravel cut between trees like he'd done it 100 times. The road narrowed fast, branches brushing the sides of the truck. And the fog, dude, the fog was weird. It wasn't weather. It was like something that belonged there. Like it was waiting. We passed this old sign, half-rotted, private property. Then another sign, newer, spray-painted, turn back. Mason laughs. That's just teenagers. But then, no joke, we pass a third sign, handwritten on plywood, fresh enough that the wood looked pale. It said, "You're early." I remember saying, "Early for what?" Mason didn't answer. He just drove faster. The spot was a clearing by a creek, a little flat place cut into the slope. It looked like people had camped there before. There was an old fire ring, a log used as a bench, even a couple nails in a tree like somebody once hung a lantern. The air was cold wet, not freezing, just damp in your bones. Mason says, "Told you." Perfect. And I'm looking around like, yeah, perfect if you're a raccoon. We unload gear, set up the tent, and here's the first moment where I felt something I can't describe well. It wasn't fear. It was that sensation you get when you walk into a room and a conversation stops. Like the hollow had been doing something before we arrived, and now it was just watching to see what we do that we cooked. We talked. We did all the normal stuff. Night fell fast, like someone flipped a switch, and the trees around the clearing made this bowl of darkness. At around 10, we're sitting by the fire. Mason's telling some story about a bar fight he absolutely started. And then we hear footsteps, not close, across the creek, maybe 50 yards. Slow, careful steps through leaves. I freeze. Mason stops mid-sentence. We both stare into the dark. Nothing. Then the footsteps stop, and in the silence right after, we hear something else. A humming, real soft, like somebody was humming with their mouth closed. It lasted maybe 5 seconds. Then it stopped too. Mason goes, "Probably a local." I'm like, a local wandering around in the woods at night humming. Mason shrugs. Could be a homeless guy. And I said the line every horror movie guy says, "Let's just go to bed." We got in the tent. Rain picked up. Not a storm, just a steady patter. I'm lying there, half asleep, listening to the creek in the rain and Mason's occasional snore. Then I heard it, outside the tent, right by my head. A whisper. My name. Not yelled, not called out, just said, like someone checking if I was awake. "David." I sat up so fast my spine cracked. Mason mumbles, "What?" I whisper, "Did you hear that?" He's instantly awake. "Hear what?" And then, again, closer. "David, dude." It was not Mason. It wasn't a voice from far away. It was right there, like lips near the tent wall. Mason reaches for the zipper. I grab his wrist, so hard he flinches. And I remember the old guy at the gas station. If you hear somebody calling you by name, don't answer. Don't help it. So I just shook my head at Mason. Like, don't. We sit there, holding our breath. Silence. Then the whisper slides to the other side of the tent, like someone walking around it without crunching leaves, without stepping on branches, without making any body noises. And then it says Mason's name. Perfectly. Mason. Mason's eyes go wide. He looks at me like, "What is this?" The voice pauses, like it's thinking. Then it says, in the same whisper, "Come look." That's all. Come look. No emotion. No threat. Just instruction. Mason whispers, "That's somebody messing with us." I whisper, "Nobody can walk around our tent without making sound." And then, this part messes with me the most. The voice does something like it's practicing. It says Mason's name again, but slightly wrong, like it doesn't know which syllable matters. Mason. Then it tries mine, but it clips the N like it's tasting it. And then the humming returns. Not outside now. Inside my skull. I don't know how else to say it. The humming was everywhere. Mason covers his ears. "Do you hear that?" I nod. My mouth is too dry to speak. Then it stops. And for a long time, nothing happens. We don't sleep. We just sit there until the sky starts to lighten. In the morning. Everything looked normal. That's the trick. Fog, creek, wet leaves, our stupid little campsite. No footprints. No broken branches. No sign anybody was there. Mason's trying to laugh it off, but he's jumpy. He keeps glancing toward the tree line like he expects it to blink. We eat granola bars. We make coffee. And I'm like, we should leave. Mason goes, "No. We drove all this way." We'll fish, we'll hike, we'll be fine. And here's the thing. I didn't want to be the scared one. So I let his confidence drag me into the day. We decide to hike up the ridge behind the clearing. Mason says there's an overlook. I wish I could show you my face when I tell you. There was no overlook. There was just more mountain. And a trail that felt less like a trail and more like something that had been worn in by repetition. Like people walked it a lot. But I never saw it on the way, and we hike maybe 40 minutes. The fog thins. The woods get quieter. And that should have been the clue. Because even in deep woods, you hear life. Birds, squirrels, bugs. But up there, it was like the volume got turned down. Then Mason stops and goes, "Shoo." I stop. Listen. I hear us. Not echo. Not memory. I hear footsteps behind us that match our rhythm. When we stop, they stop. When Mason shifts his weight, the sound behind us shifts too. Mason whispers, "Hello." I grab his arm. "Don't." He rolls his eyes, but he's pale. We start walking again, faster. The footsteps behind us keep pace. Then Mason does this sudden move. He steps off the trail to the left and crouches behind a fallen log. I follow. We hold still. No sound. Then, 3 seconds later, I hear a branch snap exactly where we would be if we were still on the trail. Like whatever was behind us didn't know we changed the plan. Then I hear it move. Slow. Searching. And it makes a sound like someone trying to cough, quietly. Not a real cough. A copy of cough. Mason mouths, "Nope." We wait. We listen. Then, from somewhere ahead on the trail, where we were headed, we hear Mason's voice. Clear as day. "Come on, man. It's fine." Mason's face does something I've never seen. Like his skin forgets how to be skin. Because Mason didn't say anything. The voice ahead repeats, "Come on, man. It's fine." Same tone. Same lazy drawl. Same timing Mason uses when he's messing with me. But it was missing something. Like it had the words and the sound, but not the person. I whispered, "That's not you." Mason nods like he might throw up. And then, from behind us, real close, a whisper at the log. My name again. Soft. Patient. Like it had all day, but we didn't run. We should have run. But your body does this thing where it tries to be reasonable, even when your soul is screaming. We backtrack fast, staying on the trail, not looking into the trees. The footsteps follow sometimes, then stop, then start again from a different angle. Always just out of sight. Eventually we reach this sagging old shack we hadn't seen before. Like the woods slid it into place while we were gone. The porch had a chair knocked over. There were wind chimes made of bone. No, I'm not being poetic. Little pale pieces strung up that clicked when the wind breathed. Mason whispers, "Hunters." I say, "No," because the bone pieces weren't deer bones. They were too small, finger-sized. We go inside because we're idiots. The shack is one room. Dirt floor, old stove, and the walls are covered in scratches. Not claw marks, tally marks, hundreds. And in the middle of them, written in charcoal, "Don't answer it. Don't follow it. Don't help it learn you." Mason reads it out loud, then looks at me like, "Okay." Not a joke anymore. And on the floor under the stove, we find a notebook inside a plastic bag. Water damaged, but readable. I open it. The first page says, "If you're reading this, you're in Blue Hollow." My stomach drops because the handwriting is different from the charcoal. Neater, like a teenager trying to write clearly for someone. I flip pages. There are rules. Not spooky story rules. Desperate rules. Don't say your friend's name. Don't call back if you hear it. If you see someone standing too still, don't approach. If you hear humming, get moving. If the creek goes silent, you have minutes. Mason goes, "This is like one of those internet things." But his voice shakes. Then we hear the creek. It's gone. Not dried up. Not moved. Just silent. Like somebody put a hand over the sound. And with the silence comes that hum again, thin as a thread, right at the edge of hearing. Mason whispers, "We need to go. Now." And as we step out of the shack, we see someone down the trail, standing in the fog. A person shape. Still. Not moving at all. Just waiting that I tee first. It looked like a guy. Jeans, jacket, hands at sides. But then my brain catches up with what my eyes are seeing. The head wasn't right. It was like the head was there, but the details were missing. Like someone smeared a face with a thumb. No eyes catching light. No mouth line. Nothing. Just a smooth suggestion of a human head. And it's facing us. not looking at us, facing us like a cutout. Mason breathes, "What the?" And the thing lifts one arm slowly, not waving, pointing toward us. Then it speaks, in my voice. "Hey, Mason." Mason stiffens like he got hit. I grab him, and we turn and we move. Not a sprint. More like this controlled panic where you're trying not to trip. And behind us, that thing stays perfectly still. But the voice continues, drifting through the fog like smoke. In my voice, "Hey, Mason, wait, come back." But it says Mason wrong on the third try. Like it's losing its grip. "Mason, come back." And then, underneath it, a whisper, "Come look." We hustle downhill, aiming for our campsite. We should reach it in under an hour. But 20 minutes in, we pass the same fallen log again. Same shape, same pale fungus, same split branch like a hook. Mason says, "No, no way." I stop. I look around. The woods are too similar. That's the problem. In a forest, you can't prove you're lost until you're very lost. Then we see the shack again. Same bone wind chimes. Same porch. Mason goes, "We're looping." I say, "How?" And the answer comes in the form of humming, louder now, and footsteps moving in a circle around us, out in the trees. Not one set, multiple, but all careful, like they don't want to step on the loud stuff. Mason whispers, "There's more than one." I whisper back, or it's pretending. Then, right behind my ear, a voice says my name again. I don't turn. I don't answer. But my body does something stupid. I flinch, and the humming stops like a dog hearing its owner. Then I hear it pleased. A soft little sound like someone learning a trick work that we finally break out into the clearing. Our campsite is there. Tent, fire ring, cooler, but it's rearranged. The log bench is on the other side of the fire ring. The cooler is open, and the tent zipper is halfway down. Mason whispers, "Did you open that?" I whisper, "No." We creep closer. Inside the tent is our sleeping bags, but they're pulled apart like someone searched them. And in the middle of the tent floor is a small pile of things. 2 granola bar wrappers we used that morning. A strip of duct tape from Mason's water bottle. A receipt from the gas station. Stuff that had been in our pockets. Placed neatly like an offering. Like, "I know you." Then I see something that makes my blood go ice. My phone, on top of the pile. Screen on. No service. But the Notes app is open. And there's a new line typed. Just 5 words. Say it again. Slow. Mason whispers, "It wants." I cut him off. "Don't say it. Don't name it." Because naming it felt like feeding it. And then, from across the creek, the faceless figure is there again. Closer now. Still not moving. But the head is turned slightly, like it's listening with its whole body. And it speaks, calm as a friend in a parking lot. In Mason's voice, "Dude, we're good. Come here." Mason's eyes go wet. He's not crying. He's just overwhelmed. He whispers, "It sounds like me." I whisper, "It's not you." The figure takes 1 step. No crunch. No splash. Just a step. And the creek goes silent again, though we bolt. Not toward the truck, because the truck is up the road, and the road is questionable. We bolt up the creek, thinking water will keep our bearings. The fog thickens like somebody poured milk into the air. We can't see 10 feet. And then I hear Mason behind me. He slips, hits a rock, swears. I turn to help, and the moment I turn, I lose him. It's like the fog swallow sound. "Mason," I call, then instantly regret it, because my own voice feels loud, like a dinner bell. There's no answer, just the humming again. And then, from the trees to my left, I hear my voice. "Mason." It repeats me, perfectly. Then, from the trees to my right, I hear Mason's voice. "I'm right here." I freeze, because I can't tell which direction is real. And the notebook rule hits me like a punch. Don't say your friend's name, because if it hears you say it enough, it learns how to wear it. I whisper, barely moving my lips, "Buddy, talk." And from somewhere ahead, close, Mason whispers back, "Dude." I run toward that whisper, and I find him. He's crouched by a boulder, shaking, one hand over his mouth like he's trying not to make noise. He points. Across the creek. Something is standing there, half hidden by fog. Not the full body this time. Just the top half. Like it's rising out of the ground. No face. But it's angled toward us like it knows exactly where we are. Mason whispers. It followed my voice. And then it speaks again. not in our voices, in a voice that sounds like radio static shaped into words. It says, "Help." And Mason, God love him, Mason does the worst possible thing. He whispers, "What do you want?" And the thing tilts its head, like a dog. And in my voice, it says, "Say your name." I don't know why I did what I did next. Pure instinct. I scooped creek water with both hands and threw it. Not at the thing, but in a wide arc across the leaves between us and the trees. Like a sprinkler, the droplets hit the ground and made tiny sounds, little clicks and taps and splashes. And the humming stuttered, like the sound confused it. Mason whispers, "What are you doing?" I whisper, "It moves quiet. It needs quiet." Because I realized something. This thing was careful. It hated noisy ground. It avoided splashing. It copied voices, but it didn't like making mess. So we start moving, but we keep splashing water ahead of us, stepping only where it's wet. It's stupid. It's so stupid. But in that moment, it felt like drawing a line in salt. And behind us, we hear the leaves rustle, but not cross the wet. We hear the static voice, frustrated, say it again. Then, my name, whispered. Then Mason's name, whispered. Trying. We keep going, following the creek downhill, splashing as we go. And after what feels like hours, we hear something beautiful, a distant engine, a real road, real world noise. The humming gets thin, angry. The fog starts to loosen its grip, and we break out onto the gravel road. Muddy, soaked, shaking like newborn deer. The truck is there, exactly where it should be. We throw our gear in, slam doors, lock them like locks matter. Mason starts it. Tires spin in mud. For a second, I'm sure it won't start, but it does. We peel out, and in the rearview mirror, through fog and trees, I see a figure at the edge of the clearing. Still, no face, and it lifts one hand slowly, not waving, pointing, like, "I'll remember you that we don't talk much until we get back to town." We stumble into the same diner like we've been reborn. The older guy is there, same seat. He looks at our mud, our faces, our hands shaking. He says, real calm, "Y'all answer it." Mason starts to say no, then realizes he did talk. He says, "I asked it a question." The older guy closes his eyes like he's tired. He says, "You fed it." I say, "What is it?" He looks at me, and he says something that still messes with me. He says, "It ain't a what. It's a space that learned how to act like a person." He sips coffee. Blue Hollow's old. Hollers hold on to things. Sound. Names. Loss. Mason says, "So it copies people." The older guy says, "It borrows." Like a coat. Then he leans in and says, "If it ever calls you again, don't you answer. And don't you go back trying to prove it was real. Because it ain't trying to scare you. It's trying to finish." I say, "Finish what?" He looks out the window at the mountains. "Finish being you." So we go home. We try to forget, and it almost works. Weeks pass. Mason jokes about it like it was a weird camping trip. Then one night, around 2:13 a.m., I'm in my kitchen getting water. My phone lights up. No notification. Just lights up. And my notes app is open. I didn't open it. There's a new line, typed at the bottom. 5 words again. "You're late. Come look." And underneath it, this is the part that made my stomach drop through the floor. It had typed my name, but spelled wrong, like it was still learning. And from the dark hallway behind me, soft as breath, I hear a hum. Not outside, not far away, in my house, like it followed the sound of me. And dude, I didn't turn around. I didn't answer. I just set the cup down, grabbed my keys, and left the lights on all night. Because whatever Blue Hollow is, it doesn't need the mountains to exist. It just needs you to teach it how. Bro, I need you to promise me something before I tell you this. If you ever go hiking in Appalachia, and you hear a whistle that sounds like it's testing you, do not whistle back. Not even as a joke. Because the mountains don't always answer with an echo. Sometimes they answer with something that learned the shape of a person. And I think I brought it home from a place called Blackberry Gap. So this happened late fall, right when the leaves are half gone and the woods are all bones and damp. My cousin Riley, who's basically a golden retriever in human form, hits me up like, "Yo, I found a trail. Not busy. Old rail bed, waterfall, cool history. Come with." And I'm thinking, sure. I've been stressed, And you know how I get? I start craving that quiet. He says it's called Blackberry Gap. I'm like, that sounds made up. Riley goes, it's local. It's real. People don't talk about it online because they don't want it ruined. Which is the kind of sentence that should make your survival instincts sit up and clap. But I said yes. Because we stop at this little gas station. One of those places where the cashier actually looks up at you. We're grabbing snacks and ice, and Riley's talking to the guy behind the counter about directions. And the cashier goes, "Y'all going up Blackberry?" Riley's like, "Yeah." And the cashier's face changes, just a little. He says, "You boys hunt?" Riley laughs. "No, sir. Just hiking." The cashier nods slowly like he's watching a kid carry scissors. Then he says, "Don't answer no whistles up there. And if you hear one behind you, you keep walking like you didn't." Riley tries to joke. "What is it, like birds?" The cashier just stares at him and goes, "A bird don't want you to come to it." Then he slides our receipt across the counter like he's done with the conversation. And as we're leaving, he adds, real casual, like he's talking about weather, "If you see a man standing in the trail with his back to you, don't go around him. Turn around." Riley laughs when we get outside. I didn't know we get to the trailhead, and it's not normal. No cars, no fresh footprints, no post-it maps, just a faded wooden sign, half swallowed by vines. The word gap is still readable. The rest is scratched up like somebody tried to remove it. There's an old rusted gate blocking a service road, but people have clearly walked around it. And right near the gate, nailed to a tree, there's a strip of wood with handwritten letters, "Don't call back." Riley says, probably some Halloween prank. But the handwriting isn't playful. It's shaky, like somebody wrote it tired. Or scared. We start down the old rail bed, and immediately I notice something. The blackberries. They're everywhere, even though the season's mostly over. Dry brambles, sure, but there are still clusters of dark berries here and there, like little bruises on a bush. Riley picks one and pops in his mouth. I go, "Dude, don't eat random woods fruit." He chews, makes a face. Tastes like pennies. He spits it out, and that should have been our sign to turn around, too, because the air after that felt different. Like the woods noticed we'd taken something. We hike a mile or two. It's quiet, but not peaceful. It's the kind of quiet that feels managed. Then we hear it. A whistle. 2 notes. Soft, like someone practicing. Riley stops, grinning. "Hear that?" I'm like, "Yeah." He whistles back. Same 2 notes. And I swear to you, the world paused. Not literally, but the bird stopped. The wind calmed. Like the mountain leaned closer. Then, from somewhere deeper down the trail, the whistle repeats. Same 2 notes, but slightly cleaner. Slightly more confident. Riley laughs. Someone's messing with us. I keep walking, trying to act normal. And a minute later, we hear it again. But this time it's behind us. 2 notes. Closer. Riley turns, scanning. "Hello." I grab his sleeve. "Keep moving." He rolls his eyes, but he does. And behind us, every few minutes, that whistle happens again. Always 2 notes. Always like it's staying with us. Always like it's counting distance till we find this rusted old lunch pail near the edge of the rail bed, half covered by leaves. It looks like something a miner or railroad worker would have carried. Riley's like, "That's sick." He picks it up. Inside, nothing. Just dirt and a smell like wet iron. But on the outside, scratched deep into the metal, are initials. R.H. And below that, like someone added it later, "Don't whistle back." Riley's smile fades a little. He tries to laugh, but comes out weird. He says, "Okay, that's a lot of warnings for one trail." Then he makes the mistake of saying, "Whoever's doing this is really committed." And the whistle responds. Right beside us. 2 notes. So close it vibrated in my teeth. Riley yelps and spins. There's nobody. No footsteps. No movement. Just blackberry brambles trembling like something passed through them without touching the ground. That we keep going. Because again, your brain tries to be reasonable. And then we see him. Down the trail, maybe 70 yards. A man standing dead still. Back turned to us. Hands at his sides. Just waiting. Riley whispers, "Hey." I hiss. No, the cashier's words slam into my head. "If you see a man standing in the trail with his back to you, don't go around him." Riley whispers, "Maybe he's lost." And here's the creepy part. The man's clothes look wrong. Not weird style, but like You can't lock onto details. Like the fog is eating the edges of him. Riley takes a step forward, and the man whistles. 2 notes, but the whistle is wet, like air going through something that isn't built for it. Riley freezes. The man doesn't turn around. He just stands there with his back to us and whistles again. 2 notes. Then, this is where my body goes cold. I hear Riley's whistle, but Riley didn't whistle. The sound comes from the man. Perfect copy. Then the man's shoulders lift slightly, like he's pleased. Like, good. I can do that now. I grab Riley and whisper, turn around. Now, Riley whispers back, but, and the man speaks without turning, in a voice that's too calm. Riley. Riley's face drains. He goes, how does he know my... I don't let him finish. I yank him back the way we came. And behind us, the man starts whistling in a steady rhythm. 2 notes. 2 notes. 2 notes. Like footsteps. But he isn't walking. We backtrack fast. We pass the lunch pail spot again. Way too soon. I point. That's not possible. Riley goes, maybe we didn't go far. But we did. I know we did. Then we pass the same fallen hemlock, split like a wishbone, again and again. And I realize what the mountains do sometimes. They fold space. Not like sci-fi portals. More like you lose your ability to measure distance. The trail becomes a suggestion. The whistle stays behind us, steady. Sometimes close. Sometimes far. Always 2 notes. Always like it's hurting us. Then Riley says, do you smell that? I sniff. Copper. Pennies. Blood adjacent. I look at the blackberry bushes. The berries look darker now. More of them. Like the plants are waking up. Then the whistle changes. Not the notes. The tone. It's more confident. Like it's done this before that we reach the trailhead area. Or what we think is the trailhead. Because there's the rusted gate. But now there's another sign beside it. Fresh wood, fresh nails. It says, you can't leave with what you took. Riley whispers, I didn't take anything. I say, the berry. Riley's mouth opens like he forgot he even did that. Then my stomach drops because I see something on Riley's lips. A faint dark stain. Like blackberry juice. But he spit it out hours ago. And still, the stain looks fresh. Then Riley whistles. Not on purpose. More like a nervous exhale that forms the shape of a whistle. 2 notes. He slaps his hand over his mouth like he just bit his tongue off. And behind us, the trail whistles back immediately. 2 notes. Perfect. Closer. Then a voice, right beside my ear, whispers. Again. I don't turn. I don't answer. But Riley does. He whispers, stop. And the voice whispers back, like it's learning how to be human. Stop. Then it chuckles. Not a real chuckle. A copy of the sound you make when you're trying to imitate laughter without knowing why people laugh. We decide we're leaving the trail and cutting through the woods to the road. Bad plan. But panic doesn't care. We push through brambles. The thorns grab clothes like hands. And that's when I notice the blackberry bushes aren't just there. They arranged. Like a fence. Like they want to funnel you. Riley's breathing hard. And every time he exhales, the air wants to whistle. Then the bushes ahead part. Not like wind. Like something moved them aside. And I see a shape. Human height. Too still. And I can't make out the face. Not because it's dark. Because there's nothing to make out. Like the head is smooth, foggy, unfinished. And from that smooth head comes the whistle. 2 notes. Then the voice, Riley's voice, comes out of it. Come on, man. It's okay. But Riley is right beside me, trembling. And the thing repeats, trying to get the rhythm right. It's okay. Then it adds, softer, like a secret. Again, Riley shakes his head violently. And I realize it's not trying to scare him. It's trying to make him participate. It wants him to help it sound right. This is the moment I stop thinking like a person and start thinking like an animal. I grab a fistful of gravel and I hurl it into the brambles. Not at the thing, but around it. Rocks clatter. Leaves explode with noise. Riley flinches. What are you doing? I whisper. It wants clean sound. Give it ugly sound. Then I start snapping branches. Kicking rocks. Making a mess. The whistle stutters. The 2 notes come out wrong. Off pitch, frustrated. Like it hates noise that isn't controlled. Riley's staring at me like I'm insane, but he follows my lead. He starts banging his metal water bottle against a tree. The woods hate it, and I swear the fog pulses like it's breathing. The thing in the brambles makes a sound like static, trying to become a scream. and the blackberry vines lash, not whipping like snakes, but shifting, blocking. So I do the dumbest, smartest thing I can think of. I grab Riley by the strap of his backpack, and I run straight through the loudest, messiest patch I can find. We crash. We bleed. We get shredded by thorns. But every step is chaos. Leaves, sticks, gravel. And behind us, the whistle tries to follow, but it can't keep the rhythm. It can't stay quiet. It can't stay perfect. It keeps choking on the sound. 2 notes wrong. 2 notes wrong. Then silence. We burst out onto the road like we were shot out of the woods. We don't look back. We just run until we see the car. We get in the car. Lock it. Drive. Riley keeps rubbing his lips like they're numb. I ask him, "You okay?" He nods, but his cheeks twitch, like he's about to whistle. He presses his palm to his mouth again. He whispers, "I can feel it." What? He swallows hard. The notes. He says he can feel the whistle sitting right behind his teeth like a habit, like a reflex, like something placed it there. That night, he texts me one word. Again, no punctuation, no context, just again. I call him. He answers, crying. He says, "I keep hearing it in my sleep." I say, "Hearing what?" And he whistles. 2 notes. Then he screams and hangs up. 2 days later, I get a voicemail from Riley. But when I play it, it isn't him talking. It's breathing. Soft. Close to the mic. Then a whistle. 2 notes. Then the sound of blackberry vines scraping, like thorns on fabric. Then Riley's voice, quiet, like he's right next to me. "Come here." And then, in a voice that is not Riley's and not anyone's, a whisper. Again, I call Riley. No answer. I drive to his place. He's home. He answers the door like normal. Hoodie, sweatpants, tired eyes. He says, "Hey." I ask, "Did you call me?" He frowns. No, then his mouth twitches. A breath shapes into a whistle. 2 notes. He clamps his hand over his lips so hard his knuckles go white. And behind him, in his dark hallway, I hear the faintest echo of it. Not from outside, from inside his house. 2 notes, like someone whistling back from a room that shouldn't have anyone in it. Riley whispers through his hand, terrified, "Don't answer." And that's when I notice his kitchen table. A bowl, full of blackberries. Fresh. Perfect. Like they'd just been picked. In November. And on a sticky note beside the bowl, written in shaky handwriting, "You took one. Now take 2. So yeah, that's why I'm telling you this. Because last night I was brushing my teeth, and I caught myself whistling. 2 notes. Without thinking. And from somewhere in my house, the mountains whistled back. 2 notes. Perfect. Like it was finally getting it right. Hey dude, I need you to not laugh when I say this, alright? Because I used to be the guy who watched those missing 411 videos and went, "Yeah, okay, sure, definitely a wizard in the woods." And then last month I drove through this little stretch of mountain road, middle of nowhere, like the kind of place where the GPS gives up and you start seeing hand-painted signs. And I saw something that still makes my hands shake when I think about it. It wasn't a ghost. It wasn't a bear. It wasn't even a person. Not really. It was lights. 3 lights. Moving through the trees like they were being carried. But every time I tried to get closer, the woods adjusted. Like the forest was rearranging itself around me. And the worst part, I think it wanted me to follow it as, "Oh, you remember my Uncle Wade? The one who used to take us fishing when we were kids and always smelled like gasoline and pine?" He passed a while back, and my aunt finally decided to sell his cabin. Not a cute cabin either. More like a shack that survived out of spite. She calls me because I'm the only person in the family who will drive out there, clean it up, and not complain the whole time. So I take a Friday off work and head out. The cabin is up in this area locals call Pine Needle Ridge. Not on the map says that. On the map, it's just a bunch of green and contour lines and a couple Forest Service roads. But when you stop in town for supplies and you say Pine Needle Ridge, people do that thing where their smile stays but their eyes change. Like their face is still being polite while their brain is going, "Don't get involved." I stop at a small grocery store that looks like it hasn't updated since 1997. I'm checking out just basics, trash bags, bleach, batteries, beef jerky, coffee. The cashier is this older woman with a voice like gravel. She sees the batteries and goes, "You going up the ridge?" I say, "Yeah." just for the weekend, cleaning out my uncle's place. She pauses, like she's considering whether she should even respond. Then she says, "Don't follow the lights." I laugh because I think she's messing with me. Like, haha, local legend, spooky season. But she doesn't laugh. She slides the receipt toward me and says, "Softer. Just don't. If you see him, go inside. Lock the door. Close the blinds. And don't watch." That last part, it's weird. Not don't go out. Not don't get close. Don't watch. I leave with my stuff, telling myself it's just small town superstition. But I'm gonna be honest. My chest felt tight the whole drive after that. Because there's a difference between someone telling you a campfire story and someone giving you instructions like they've had to use them. The cabin is about 45 minutes from town once you get onto the dirt roads. And the whole time you're climbing, the trees get thicker and the light gets dimmer. You know that feeling when you're driving and the forest on both sides starts to look like one continuous wall? Like if you pulled over and stepped into it, you disappear in 5 steps? That. By the time I get to the cabin, it's late afternoon. Overcast. The kind of gray that makes everything look like it's already evening. The place is exactly how I remember it. Crooked porch, rusted metal roof, windows that don't quite fit their frames. Inside it smells like old smoke and wetwood. I spent a couple hours just clearing junk, broken chairs, old newspapers, buckets full of nails, a jar of pennies that somehow looks ancient. And then I find something I've never seen before. In the back room, like a storage room, there's a hook on the wall, and hanging from it is this old battery lantern. Not a modern one. One of those big plastic ones with a handle, the kind you bring camping. But taped to it is a piece of yellowed paper, handwritten, in my uncle's handwriting. It says, "If you see them, turn everything off. No light, no sound. Don't watch, don't follow." And underneath that, like an afterthought, one more line, "The ridge likes company." Dude, I just stood there staring at that paper like it was a snake. Because my uncle wasn't a superstitious guy. He was practical. He believed in 2 things, tools and common sense. And that note looked like something written by a man who watched his common sense fail. I took the paper down and stuck it in my pocket. Then I went outside, looked at the tree line, and suddenly the woods didn't feel like scenery anymore. They felt like an audience that I should tell you. There's no cell service at the cabin. None. You get a weak signal if you drive down to a certain bend in the road, but at the cabin itself, nothing. So I'm out there with just my car, the cabin, and a sky that starts going dark earlier than it should. I make dinner, ramen, because I'm classy. I set up a little sleeping situation on the couch, and I try to distract myself with an old DVD player my uncle had hooked up. Except the TV keeps flickering. Not like it's broken, more like it's picking up static. And every time the screen flickers, I get this weird sensation that the static isn't random. Like it has rhythm. Like it's trying to become something. I turn it off. I check the locks, mostly for comfort. Then I try to sleep. And for about an hour, it's normal. Wind in the trees, house creaking, occasional branch tapping the roof. Then I see it, through the gaps in the curtains. A light, not bright like a flashlight, more like a soft glow, like someone cupping a candle, moving between the trees. I sit up, heart thumping. The light stops. Then a second light appears. Then a third. 3 lights, spaced apart, weaving around tree trunks like they're moving through a crowd. I tell myself, hunters, or someone camping, or kids messing around. But then the lights do something that makes my blood go cold. They line up, perfectly. 3 lights in a straight row, and they start moving toward the cabin. Not fast, not slow, just steady, like they know where they're going. I remember the cashier. I remember my uncle's note. I get up and I turn off every light in the cabin. I don't even leave a lamp on. Total darkness, except for moonlight. I sit on the floor, away from windows, breathing shallow like I'm hiding from a person with a gun. And I hear it. Not footsteps, not branches. A faint sound like fabric dragging, like someone wearing a long coat walking through wet leaves without lifting their feet. The lights reach the edge of the clearing. And the cabin, dude, I swear, feels like it holds its breath. Then the dragging sound circles the cabin. Slow. 1 full loop. And as it passes each window, the light outside brightens a little, like it's leaning in to look. I stay perfectly still. Then I hear a whisper. Not outside. Not inside. More like in the wall. A voice, low and curious, saying, Wade, my uncle's name, like someone testing the sound of it. Then another whisper, clearer, Wade, come out. And my whole body goes ice. Because my uncle is dead, and whoever, or whatever, was outside didn't know that, or didn't care. I clamped my hands over my mouth to keep myself from making any sound. The lights paused at the front window, right where the curtain had a little gap, and I had this insane urge to look, like something in me wanted to see what was holding those lights. And I realized that urge wasn't mine. It was like the ridge was pulling my attention, the way you can't help staring at a car crash. I squeezed my eyes shut, and I waited. For a long time, nothing happened. Then the lights started moving away, dragging sound fading into the trees. And only when they were gone did I let myself breathe like a normal person again. I stayed in the dark until morning. Didn't turn on a single light. Didn't even check outside, because I kept thinking about the note. Don't watch. I didn't understand why, but I believed it. In the morning, everything looks normal. That's the trick with woods horror. Daylight makes you feel stupid for being scared. I walked outside and looked around. No footprints. No tracks. No broken branches. Nothing. But near the porch steps, in the dirt, I noticed something that wasn't there yesterday. 3 shallow grooves. Like something had been dragged. 3 parallel lines. From the tree line to the porch, then away again. I stared at them for a long time. Then I did the rational thing. I told myself it was raccoons. Because if you can explain it, it stops being scary, right? I spent the day working, cleaning out the back room, bagging trash, sorting things my aunt might want. Around noon, I found another note, folded inside a toolbox. Different handwriting, not my uncle's. This one was Messier, like someone wrote in a hurry. If you watch them, you'll want to follow. If you follow, you won't come back right. Under that, don't let them learn you. I didn't like that sentence. Not one bit. Because it implied the ridge wasn't just luring people. It was studying them. Night 2, I tried to be smart. I covered the windows with blankets. I put a chair against the door, even though I knew it wouldn't help against something that can whisper through a wall. I turned everything off early, and I sat there with my back to the wall, holding a flashlight like it was a weapon. Around midnight, it started again. 3 lights, this time closer, like they didn't need to search. They already knew where I was. The dragging sound came with them, circling the cabin. And then the whisper started again. But it wasn't my uncle's name this time. It was mine. Soft, curious, almost friendly. Hey, my name. Like someone calling you from another room. Come see. And I felt that pull again. The desire to look, to peek through the blanket, to just get one glimpse. And my body started to move before my brain agreed. I caught myself halfway up, sat back down, held my breath. Then the whisper changed tone. It got patient, like it knew it could wait me out. Come see, come see, come see. Not threatening, not angry, just repetitive, like a child learning to talk. Then, this is the part one hate telling. I heard my uncle's voice. Not a whisper, clear, from right outside the cabin. He said my name exactly the way he used to when I was a kid. Like, get over here, help me with this. And my heart just broke open, because my body responded before my mind did. My throat tightened. Tears came. All this emotion I didn't know I was carrying hit me at once. And I almost stood up. I almost went to the door. Then I remembered something that saved me. My uncle called me by a nickname. Always. He never said my full name. And the voice outside just said my name plain. Wrong. Like it had read it off a paper. Like it didn't know me. Not really. And in that moment, the grief turned to fear so sharp I felt it behind my eyes. I backed away from the door. And the voice outside, my uncle's voice, laughed. But it wasn't laughter. It was that imitation laugh again. Like something copying human sounds without understanding the emotion. Then the dragging sound stopped. Silence. And in the silence I heard something else. A soft tapping on the window. 3 taps. Then 3 more. Like a pattern. Like a knock. Then the whisper. Listen. I stayed frozen. And after a long time, the lights moved away again. The next morning I decided I was done. No more cleaning. No more being brave. I threw trash bags in the car, grabbed a couple boxes of things my aunt wanted, and I got ready to leave. And that's when I realized my car keys were missing. I searched everywhere. Pockets, table, couch cushions, kitchen counter, nothing. And I felt a cold wave wash over me because I remembered the line, "The ridge likes company." So I went outside. I checked the ground around the porch, and there they were. My keys, placed neatly on the porch step like someone set them down politely. But here's the thing, they weren't alone. Beside them was an object I'd never seen before. A small bundle wrapped in cloth, tied with twine, like an old-fashioned charm. I stared at it for a long time. Then I did something I regret. I picked it up. The cloth was damp and smelled like earth. I unwrapped it, slowly. Inside was a little cluster of things. 3 old coins, a snapped-off piece of a flashlight lens, and a strip of fabric, like from a jacket sleeve. And tied around the fabric was a tiny tag of paper with one word on it: trade. My stomach flipped. I dropped it like it burned. And from the woods, not close, but not far, I saw the 3 lights. In daylight. Faint, like fireflies that forgot it was morning. They hovered between trunks, watching, waiting. And I swear to you, dude, I felt embarrassed. Like I'd been caught trying to sneak out of a party early. I went back inside, locked the door, and I just sat there, thinking, planning. Panic wants you to run, but the ridge wanted me to run. So I did the opposite. I waited until late afternoon. Then I did something I can't fully explain. I turned on every light in the cabin, every lamp, every overhead, bright, like I was daring the dark. And I opened the curtains, and I stood in the center of the room and said out loud, no, just that. No prayer, no threat, no. And nothing happened for a while. Then the lights appeared again at the edge of the clearing. But this time they didn't move closer. They stayed there like animals at the tree line, hesitant. And the whisper came, angry now, not loud, but sharp. Turn it off. And I realized something. They like people in the dark. People hiding. People watching quietly. Because that's when it could use your imagination against you. So I stayed in the light until the sun went down. And when it was fully dark outside, I kept every light on. Bright cabin, black woods. And for hours, nothing happened. No dragging sound. No whispers. No tapping. At around 2 a.m., the power flickered, and my stomach dropped because I knew the ridge didn't do that by accident. The lights in the cabin dimmed for a second, and in that second, I heard it. A whisper in the corner of the room, right behind me. My name, so close I felt it in my skin. And then the lights came back full brightness. I spun. Nothing there. But in the air, faintly, like a smell you can't locate, I sensed something that had been inside the cabin with me. Not in a human way. In a shadow passing through a room way. And I realized the cabin wasn't a safe place. It was just a place. The ridge could reach in whenever it wanted. It just preferred when you made it easy. At dawn I found my keys again. On the porch step, same as before. The bundle marked trade was gone. In its place was a new thing, a small strip of cloth. And on the cloth, 3 tiny punctures in a row. Like someone pressed a needle through it 3 times. I didn't touch it. I grabbed my keys, got in the car, and started driving. And the road out, dude, the road out felt longer than the road in. I kept seeing the same bent mailbox twice. The same fallen tree. The same curve. Like I was stuck in a loop. Then, as the sun rose, I saw them. 3 lights. Not in the woods. In my rearview mirror. Inside the car behind me, where the back seat should have been empty. 3 faint glows, like reflections without sources. I nearly wrecked. I slammed on brakes, turned around in my seat. Nothing. Back seat empty. I looked in the mirror again. 3 lights. Closer now, like they were in the glass. I hit the gas and drove like my life depended on it. And as I got closer to town, closer to people, to noise, to normal, the lights in the mirror faded, like they couldn't hold shape outside the ridge. By the time I reached the grocery store again, they were gone. I went inside shaking, bought nothing, just needed fluorescent light and human voices. The same cashier saw me and didn't look surprised. She said, "You watch him?" I swallowed. "No." She nodded, like she could tell I was telling the truth. Then she said, "They follow folks who look." I whispered, "What are they?" And she looked at me like she didn't like the answer. She said, "Some places up here, they don't want to be empty. So you'd think that's the end, right?" I left. I'm home. Everything's fine. Except, 2 nights ago, my power flickered. Just once. And for that half second, in my dark living room, I saw 3 tiny glows reflected in the black TV screen. Like someone standing behind me holding lights. I froze. Didn't turn around. Didn't look. Because the ridge taught me something. If you look, you participate. And if you participate, you teach it how to keep you. I turned every light on in my house, and I stayed up until sunrise like a kid afraid of monsters. In the morning, I checked my phone. There was a new photo in my camera roll. I didn't take it. It was just there, a blurry image of trees at night. And in the distance, 3 lights. Not close enough to see what held them, but close enough to know they were facing the camera. Facing me. And underneath the photo, no caption, no message, just one thing that makes my stomach twist. Because it was saved with a location tag, not Pine Needle Ridge, my address. So yeah, that's why I'm telling you this. Not to scare you, to warn you. If you ever end up out in the woods and you see lights moving where lights shouldn't be, don't follow, don't watch. And if you feel that urge to just peek, that isn't curiosity, that's an invitation. And some invitations aren't meant to be declined politely. They're meant to be ignored completely. Because the ridge doesn't get mad. It gets patient. And patient things eventually get what they're waiting for. Have you ever looked down at a trail and realized there are 2 sets of footprints, but you're hiking alone? Because I did. And at first I told myself it was old tracks, or another hiker, or an animal, anything normal. But the second set was matching mine. Same stride, same shoe pattern, same weight. Like something had stepped into my walk and decided it was going to wear it. And the moment I noticed, it stopped trying to hide. It started trying to get closer. You know how I've been trying to do the healthy thing lately? Less doom scrolling, more nature, all that. So I planned a solo weekend trip. Nothing crazy, just a simple hike and a one-night camp in a national forest area. Not a famous trail, not a crowded park, just woods, quiet, and my brain finally shutting up. I picked this place because it looked boring on the map. That's the mistake. Boring on the map usually means the internet hasn't found it yet. And if the internet hasn't found it, locals have reasons. I stop at a small ranger station to check in and grab a paper map because service out there is spotty, and I wasn't trying to be that guy who gets rescued for trusting a phone. The ranger is this tired-looking dude, maybe early 40s, with a sun-faded ball cap and a face like he's seen enough nonsense for 10 lifetimes. He asks where I'm headed. I tell him the trail name. He pauses, just for half a second. Then he leans forward and says, "Real casual. Stay on the main path." I'm like, "Yeah, obviously." He shakes his head. "No, I mean it. Don't take shortcuts. Don't step off trail for pictures. Don't go looking for weird stuff." I laugh and say, "I'm not one of those." He doesn't smile. Then he adds, even quieter, "If you see your own footprints ahead of you, turn around." I blink. "What?" He taps the counter with one finger, like he's counting rules. "And if you hear footsteps behind you that stop when you stop, don't run. Just keep walking, like you didn't notice." I stand there holding my map, trying to decide if he's messing with me. He looks at me like I'm a kid holding a firework. Then he says, "People come out of those woods wrong, like they left something behind." And that was it. He handed me the map and moved on to the next person like he didn't just drop the creepiest sentence of my week. I should have listened. But you know me. My brain filed it under local superstition and kept going. The trail starts out normal. Gravel. Pine needles. Those low ferns that look like they're always hiding something. The air is cold and clean, and the woods are quiet in a way that initially feels peaceful. But after an hour, the quiet starts feeling wrong. Not no birds at all, but like everything is keeping its voice down, like the forest is trying not to draw attention. And I notice another thing. My footsteps are loud. Every crunch sounds huge. It's like the woods amplify anything human. I keep walking, telling myself I'm being dramatic. Then I see the first sign that makes my stomach tighten. On a tree, off to the side, carved into the bark, not fresh, but not ancient either, are 3 words. Keep your pace, no name. No dates. No LOL or dumb symbols. Just that. And the lettering is careful, straight, deliberate. Like whoever carved it was focused and sober. I stand there staring at it, and I realize I've stopped walking. I'm just standing, and that's when I hear it. A footstep behind me. One crunch, then silence. I freeze. I wait. Nothing. I turn slowly, expecting to see another hiker. Maybe a couple. The trail behind me is empty. I laugh under my breath like an idiot and keep walking. But my shoulders are tense now, like my body is preparing for something my mind still refuses to admit. About 2 miles in, there's a muddy section where the trail dips into a low area and crosses a little stream. It's not deep, just enough to make the ground soft. I step through, careful not to soak my boots. Then, without thinking, I glance down. My footprints are clear in the mud, and right beside them, another set, perfectly placed. Same boot tread, same stride length. Right next to mine, like someone was walking shoulder to shoulder with me. But there was no one. I stop so hard my bag shifts. I look up, scan the trees. Nothing. I look behind me. Empty. I look back down. The second set is there, fresh, wet, defined, like it had been made seconds ago. I get this wave of heat up my neck, that hot panic feeling you get when you realize you left your front door open at home. I back up a step. My footprint prints backward. The other set also steps back. I can't explain how that felt. Like my stomach dropped through the mud. I took 2 steps forward. 2 matching footprints appeared. In perfect sync. I whispered, "Nope." And I forced myself to keep moving because standing there felt like the worst option. But now I couldn't stop thinking about the ranger. If you see your own footprints ahead of you, I hadn't seen them ahead. I'd seen them beside, which felt worse, somehow. Because ahead implies it's leading you. Beside implies it's already with you. I pick up my pace a little. Not running, just walking faster. And I hear it. Faint behind me, another step. Crunch. Then another. Crunch. Not constant. Not chasing. Just sinking. Like a metronome. I stop. The footsteps stop. I start. They start. I stop again. They stop again. It becomes so predictable, it almost feels like a joke. Like I'm controlling it. But the longer it goes on, the less it feels like control, and the more it feels like a test. Like it's waiting for me to do something different. Then it happens. I trip slightly on a root. Not a full fall, just a stumble. My boot scrapes. Behind me, I hear a scrape too, but half a second late. Like it was imitating my stumble after the fact. And the sound is wrong. Mine is boot on dirt. The other is something dragging, like a heavy fabric or a wet sleeve across leaves. I keep walking, heart hammering, and I notice my breathing is louder than normal. Because every time I inhale hard, I swear I hear a second inhale. Not behind me exactly, more like close, too close, like it's right over my shoulder, but I can't see it. I don't turn around, because turning around feels like acknowledging it. And if there's one thing every backwoods warning has in common, it's this: don't give it attention as it gets later. The sky turns that early winter gray, and I realize I'm not going to make it to the planned campsite before dark if I keep stopping and freaking out. So I decide to take a shortcut. The map shows a service spur that reconnects. I know. The ranger literally said don't do this. But fear makes you want efficiency. You want out. I step off the main path. The second my boot leaves the trail, the woods change. It's subtle, like the air thickens. The sound's dull. My footsteps stop echoing. And the creepiest part, I don't hear the second footsteps anymore. For a moment, I feel relief. Then I feel worse. Because the absence is like turning off a fan and suddenly noticing the room is too quiet. I stop. I listen. Nothing. Then, ahead of me, maybe 20 yards, I see something that makes my skin crawl. A footprint. In a patch of soft ground. My boot tread. But I haven't walked there yet. It's ahead of me. I stare at it. Then I see another. And another. A trail of my own footprints leading into thicker woods. Not the direction back to the main path. The direction deeper in. I feel that pull. The stupid curiosity, like, how is that possible? And underneath that curiosity is something else. A quiet urge to follow. Like it would be easier if I just followed the path that's already there. I remember the ranger's voice again. If you see your own footprints ahead of you, turn around. So I turn around. And behind me, my footprints on the service spur are gone. Not covered. Not hard to see. Gone. Like the ground reset. Pine needles smoothed out. Mud undisturbed. Like I never stepped there. Except my boots are dirty. And my heart is screaming that I try to find a main trail again. I walk carefully, scanning for markers, looking for the shape of the path. And as I move, I hear it again. Crunch. Behind me. Then crunch again. Closer now. Not matching my pace perfectly. Adjusting. Learning. I pick up my pace. It picks up. I slow down. It slows. But it's not perfectly synced now. It's doing its own timing. like it doesn't need a copy anymore. It just wants a close distance. And then I hear something worse than footsteps. A soft voice. Not loud, not clear, but it says a word. My name. Not shouted, not called, just spoken, like a question. And I almost turned around. Almost. Because hearing your name is like a reflex. It's a hook in your brain. But I forced myself to keep walking. I whispered. No, I don't know why I said it. Maybe I needed to hear myself. The voice behind me whispered back. No, but it said it wrong. Like it didn't have the right throat for it. Like it was shaping the sound through something that wasn't made for speech. And I realized what the ranger meant by wrong. People come out of the woods wrong because something tries to wear them. I stumble into a clearing I don't recognize. And in the clearing is a small cabin. Not a nice cabin. A rotting one. Door hanging off one hinge. Windows broken. Roof sagging. It looks abandoned. But it looks placed. Like it's part of a set. Like it exists to be found. My instincts scream not to go inside. But dusk is hitting fast, and the woods behind me are still making those slow, patient steps. So I do the stupid thing. I go to the cabin. Inside is darkness and mold and that smell of old damp cloth. There's a table with something on it. A notebook. Open. And I swear to you, the page looks fresh. Like someone was just writing. The words are messy. They say, if it walks with you, don't let it walk ahead. If it learns your pace, it learns your way home. I read that and my blood runs cold. Because the footsteps behind me stop. Right outside the cabin. And for a second, I can't hear anything at all. Not wind. Not birds. Nothing. Then the floorboards creak. Not under me. Near the doorway. Like something stepped onto the porch. But I didn't hear it approach. I didn't hear leaves. Just porch creak. And that means whatever it is doesn't always need to use the ground. There's a cracked mirror on the wall. One of those old rectangular ones. Dusty, spiderwebbed. I don't want to look at it. But your eyes do what they do. I glance. And I see myself. My face pale, eyes wide. And behind me, in the mirror, a second shape. Right over my shoulder. Same height as me. Same outline. But the details are wrong. Where my jacket has seams, its jacket looks smooth, unfinished, like a mannequin wearing an idea of clothing. Where my hair has texture, its head looks flat in places like someone pressed it. And where a face should be, there's something like shadow. Not empty, just not resolved. I spin around. Nothing behind me. I look back at the mirror. The shape is still there. Closer now. Like it moved in the reflection, but not in the room. And then, in the mirror, its head tilts. And the voice behind me, quiet, curious, says, "Walk." I don't answer. But my body starts to move backward away from the mirror. And the shape in the mirror moves forward. Like it's swapping positions with me, one step at a time. I suddenly understand what walk with you means. It isn't beside you on the trail. It's beside you in the pattern, in the repetition, in the rhythm of you. And if it learns it well enough, it can step into your place that I don't know where the idea came from. Panic and instinct, probably. But I remember that carved message. Keep your pace. And the notebook said, don't let it walk ahead. So I did something that felt completely insane. I broke my pace. I started walking wrong. Not running. Not stopping. Just irregular. 2 steps fast, 1 step slow. A stomp. A shuffle. I dragged one boot on purpose, making a loud scrape. I slapped my hand against my thigh as I moved. I made myself unpredictable. And the footsteps outside the cabin, those patient steps, hesitated. Like it didn't know how to match anymore. The voice whispered, walk, but it sounded strained now. I kept moving weird. I backed out of the cabin and headed toward where I thought the main trail should be. But I refused to settle into a normal rhythm. And every time I accidentally got into a steady pace, every time my body tried to relax, I heard a matching step, like it was waiting for me to become easy again. So I stayed messy. I stayed loud. I stayed human in the ugliest, least elegant way possible. After maybe 15 minutes of that, the forest sounds began to return. Wind, a distant bird, a creak. And in that noise, the second footsteps faded. Not gone, just losing interest. Like a predator deciding you're not worth the energy that I found the main trail, right as full dark hit. I could tell because the ground had that familiar packed feel, and there were those little trail markers on the trees. I wanted to run, but running is a steady rhythm too. So I walked, still messy, still irregular, until I saw the faint lights of the parking area. And the moment I saw my car, I almost cried. I got in, locked the doors, and started it. I drove fast, not caring about potholes. When I reached the ranger station area, it was closed, but the parking lot lights were on. I pulled in, just needing to be near something normal. And as I sat there, breathing, I looked down at my boots. Mud, pine needles, scuffs. Then I looked at the passenger side floor mat, and my stomach dropped. There was mud there too. A footprint. My boot tread. On the passenger side. But I hadn't put my feet over there. I hadn't had anyone in the car. I stared at it until my eyes burned. Then I looked in the rearview mirror. And for half a second, I saw a shape in the back seat. My height. My outline. Sitting perfectly still. Then the interior light flickered, and it was gone. I didn't wait to see if it came back. I drove all the way home with every interior light on like a psycho that you'd think this would end with me never hiking again. And yeah, I took a break. But here's the real reason I'm calling you. Yesterday, I was walking from my car to my apartment. Normal day, normal sidewalk, and I heard a footstep behind me. Crunch. Even though the ground was concrete. I stopped. It stopped. I started again. It started. Matching. Testing. And for a moment, I smelled pine needles. In the hallway of my apartment building. Which makes no sense. Then, in the quiet, I heard a whisper, soft as breath, walk. And I realized something that made my stomach twist. It didn't need the woods to follow me. It just needed to learn my rhythm. So yeah, if you ever go hiking and the woods start giving you rules, listen. If you see your own footprints ahead of you, turn around. And if you hear footsteps behind you that stop when you stop, don't run. Because running is just a pace. And some things are patient enough to learn it. And once they do, they don't have to chase you. They can just walk with you all the way home.
Before you go, look around the room for a moment. The story may have stopped here. If any of these stories stayed with you, you're not alone. Comment below the moment that made you pause, the part you can't stop thinking about, or the timestamp that felt too real. And if you don't want to face nights like this alone, subscribe now. New true horror stories every night, longer, darker, and closer to home. Turn off the lights, keep the volume low, and check your surroundings one last time. Good night.